Okay, everybody, I think we are starting here. Let's see. Yep, here we go. So, I got a package in the mail today based on something I showed for the Adafruit show and tell this Wednesday. It was the Iron Man glove. Of course, since Iron Man is owned by Disney, I'm calling it the Superhero Power Gauntlet, just as you can see over there. What this video is going to be about is this is going to be about taking all of the equipment that I used to make that and creating another one. This time I'm going to be taking detailed photographs so that way you guys at home can order all the parts that you need from Adafruit and be able to build one yourself. Now the only thing, this is mostly going to cover the electronics that was put together for this. I am going to do another section that is based on taking the 3D prints and getting a really nice finish on it, like we did with Tony's Gauntlet, so that way you can make one of the props yourself. But this is basically all the stuff. I don't have the battery in there because that's charging, but let's kind of go through what it is that we're going to be working with. So first of all, we have the Adafruit feather here, and actually I'm going to switch to my desk cam here. And then actually I just started setting up this software, so I'm making some adjustments. Actually I'm going to add a camera here so you guys can see me as well. What I'm using is open broadcast software for this. It's proving to be definitely much better than my other software that I was using. Let's see. So I'm going to use an existing camera. Sorry guys, while I'm trying to add that, I'm just going to show what it is that we're going to be working with. So first of all, we are going to be using the feather. This is the 32U4 feather from Adafruit. It's super cool. What I like about it is it has this nice little prototyping area right here, and we are going to utilize that. That's where we're actually going to put the accelerometer, because this uses accelerometer data to be able to detect gesture motion. In addition to that, is this not selecting stuff? In addition to that, we have the Adafruit soundboard. So this is one of the Adafruit FX soundboards. This is the 2 megabyte version. It's the smaller one that only has 7 pins, but that's really all that we need. I really like these for doing a lot of cosplay stuff because it is really inexpensive, and really if you do your audio files right, that's all you need. Oh, there we go. There's my other photo. Let me move that out of the way. Here. Oh no. All right, hang on. I'm gonna just rearrange this a bit. My computer is not liking it that I'm doing this live. All right, almost got it. There we go. So I got that one there. Let's move my photo, the other camera feed, to a little bit better position here. There we go. I think that'll do for now. Okay. And actually, I know that my appearance is definitely different than what you guys normally see. I have a concert for a band that I really love tonight that I'm going to go see. So I got my hair did for that, and put in some of the piercings I don't normally wear on a regular basis. But yeah, so this is definitely the more cyber goth side of me today with the look. Anyway, so back to the boards. So we got our soundboard, 2 megabyte Adafruit FX soundboard, the Feather, the 32U4 Feather with the basic Proto. The nice thing about this is it has the battery connector, but it also has a charger, so you program through the USB here, and you also program and you can also charge the battery with that. Let's see, what else have we got here? So got that and that. We of course have our NeoPixel ring, which is going to go for the main part of the blaster. And then with the original one, I actually had to put together a small little array by hand that went in the center, but luckily Adafruit has the little gem, so that is going to go in the center there. And then we have, let's see, so to go along with that audio, we have an amplifier. This is just a very small amplifier. Forget what this is. So it's just a mono amplifier because we only have one speaker. It's really low end. I want to say this is, oh well, the package. Yeah, so this is 2.5 watt. But this will get attached there to amplify the signal to the speaker. Again, another change, which I'm kind of interested to see how it's going to turn out, is that the speaker I used on the original was just a speaker that I pulled from an old laptop. But for this one, we're going to try out, this is the metal speaker, the mini metal speaker. Hopefully it'll give pretty much the same quality of audio there for the prop in a really small package. And that's the big thing, is we want this to be as small as possible so that it all fits in the glove. I always love doing that because, you know, no one wants to carry around a whole bunch of electronics that looks like you're carrying around electronics. You just want it to fit in there. Now on the original one, I used this accelerometer. This is actually the Flora accelerometer and compass built in here. This one works perfectly fine, and I am probably going to do this particular tutorial with this one. But one thing that I did get in addition to that is this one right here. So this is the other accelerometer. This is a 3-axis, just an accelerometer. This is actually the same one that they use in the Circuit Playground, and I've been doing a lot of work with Circuit Playground. In fact, in prototyping the code for this, I did it all on Circuit Playground, and these two are the same accelerometer. I do like this. It's about half the price as that one, so I really want to be able to get this one to work with it, and I'm pretty sure that it will. The other advantage that I like about this one over this one is this one has the tap detection, and that is actually what I did originally for the firing sequence on this. Is I had it so when you held your hand up, it would start charging, but it would wait until you jerked your hand, and then it would do the firing sequence if your hand was still like that. And that tapped into the tap sequence. So I'll try and get that done, but for now I'm gonna just go with what I know is gonna work. without doing a lot of prototyping, and then I'll do some of that on the side. But I don't think there's going to be that much difference between doing this one and this one. Maybe a slight difference in the code, but I'll post both of those. For now, we're just going to go with this setup right here. Of course, additional things that we're going to need is some wiring, which I have lots of that around my desk here. And then we're also going to need the battery. But let me go ahead and just take, and then we have the switch here. And I'm going to add a button because I realized that one of the things that Tony had requested is that he could disable the gesture trigger, because occasionally it would trigger by itself and the noises were rather loud and disruptive. But he also figured that if you're like going around a convention and giving people high fives, it maybe isn't the best thing to make a sound like you're shooting them while you're doing that. I thought it was pretty awesome, but oh well. So I got that button there, and those two are not required, but they are definitely good. What the switch is going to be used for is actually turning the device on and off. I did figure out how to set this up so that you can turn off the program and still allow the battery to be charged. So that's why we're going to install the switch, and then this push button will just be to disable those animation sequences which are triggered by the motion detection. Okay, so I have not yet gotten the schematic set up for this. That will be done in Fritzing. But what I do have is a photo of my board and what I did to put this all together. So I'm gonna kind of be, you might see me glancing over, I'm gonna be looking at some of that stuff. First thing that I'm gonna do is, let's see where to start. I think let's go ahead and attach the let's see, should I attach the accelerometer first? Maybe not, because I do need to get underneath there in order to get to some of the power and ground pins. But what I'm going to do is I am going to put the mounting for that. So what I did in order to mount that accelerometer is I just clipped off one of these pads, or the little these things. So I just clipped those off. Let me go ahead and take a picture. There'll be a lot of this me going back and forth and taking pictures of things. Move the camera over just a wee bit more. Alright, so that looks good. I'm trying to take really good photos of this stuff, so you guys will have a really nice tutorial to use. So I'm going to put one of these in the 3 volt and the other the ground rails. So a little tricky just to do one of these. Whew. So very warm. There we go. So might be really hard to see this on video, but I'm gonna try and capture a good photo of it. All right, there we go. I think that is gonna work. So I'm just gonna take a good picture of that. There. It's hard to go back and forth with the camera here, but all right, so that is that part. And what ends up happening here is this allows me to just place that get this to focus. So that just allows me to place that accelerometer right there with the voltage on this side, ground on this side, and then I have the pins for the I2C, and it makes that nice and solid attached to the board. This is why I really wanted to get the one with the proto side. I've been dying to use one of these just for this type of application. So that is going to work out great. Okay, so I have that one in place. What I also want to do is I want to start making a couple of wires that are going to come off of here. So the thing I like the most about this is that it has these power and ground rails over here. So what I want to do is I want to start adding ground. So I need one ground wire for the NeoPixels, one for the soundboard, and then one for the button. So for the button, that's going to turn on and off the sound, or those action triggers. I'm actually going to use this gray wire here. So I'm just going to clip off a pretty good amount of wire so I have some room. To attach this stuff. All right, I'm going to bring my helping hand in here to help me along. actually, let's see. Okay, so I got NeoPixel soundboard for ground. I'm going to cut those links, and I do want these pretty long, especially for the soundboard, because that actually kind of wraps around my hand, and then not quite as long for the NeoPixels. I'm going to do the same lengths for my power as well. Alright, so I got those links. And you know what, actually what I'm going to do first, yeah, it's hard to figure out what I'm going to do first, but I think what I'm going to do first is to put on the wires for, I don't know why this camera keeps getting out of focus here. Let me try and get this back in focus. Alright, so configure video. Sometimes this desk cam has a really hard time getting in focus. Yeah, the autofocus just doesn't really work too well for that. Okay. There we go. Make sure my mic is working too. Alright, so I have my switch here. Actually, let me switch this out. And I'm going to go ahead and solder a couple of connections to my switch. It doesn't really matter which end I'm soldering to. But I want to get at least one of these wires into the center, and then the other wire on the other side. Let's see. I want to see if I can set. There we go. Self timer for 2 seconds. Okay. Yeah. The point of this video is mostly to do documentation for the tutorial, so excuse me that I'm going to be taking a lot of pictures here. All right, so let me go ahead, solder that into the center pin, and then I'm going to get ready perfect. Oh no, except it didn't actually solder it. Okay, I jumped the gun a little too much. There we go. So let me actually solder that in there. There we go. That's all set. And I don't really need to do any more than that in there. One thing that I am going to do is clip the ends here. And then I am going to twist why doesn't this have self-timer? Okay. Good. Well, that's kind of a bummer. This won't let me do self-timer as like a permanent option. In camera images. Save on monitor mode. Okay. Wow. It's kind of a bummer. Alright, so I'm going to twist that up so we have a nice little thing. I'm going to clip it off. Over there. Strip my wires. Twist the ends. And all right. Okay. So what I want to do here in order to enable this switch, and I'm going to just double check. I'm pretty sure that I just pull this. No, actually, yeah, I remember. So I need to pull this to ground. But what I want to do, because I do have some problems with wires getting pulled out and stuff, is I am just going to string this through here. I'm going to take a picture of this. I don't know why I can't just like lock it into always doing self-timer. That's weird. Okay. And then what I want to do is put one of the ends of these wires into this ED connection, and then the other one is going to go to my ground over here. Or EN. to EN. Whew, ow. In ground, and then I'm gonna pull that down. All right, so we just added our switch. I'm just gonna trim up the bottom down there. So that's step one. Let's actually continue that, and let's add our button. That wire's kind of messy. I'm gonna use some more gray wire for this one. So for this particular one, I'm running out of colors. Unfortunately, I need to place another order here pretty soon. But typically, I will have a multitude of colors that I try and put my try and color code all of my wires, so it's real easy to see what goes to what. So first of all, I'm going to take a picture of how I've bent these pads for the button over. And then I'm going to take some of this gray wire back into self-timer. Get a little nice little wire stripping photo there. And so what I'm going to do is just push this wire right up underneath the bracket there. Actually, I should probably come from the center out. So yeah, I just want to keep this nice and compact. So let me tin these first. Tin the buttons. There we go. So get that one there. That one over there. So there's our button, and just like the other one, I'm gonna twist this up. Give me a nice twisted cable to work with. Actually, that is a bit long, so I'm going to cut that a little shorter. And this is where I got to look at the code a little bit, because I actually added the button in afterwards, but oh, you know what? Actually, I can go to my learning guide, because I just put the code up there, and see which pin that button gets attached to. But before we get there, just like the other one, I'm gonna string these wires up through. And there we go. So programming. All right, so that button's hooked up to pin number 5. So we're gonna hook one end up to ground and one end to pin number 5. So this is why we didn't solder on that other the accelerometer yet, because it is gonna cover up these wires. So I'm just gonna. Alright, well, looks like it's not gonna let me do both of those, but I can get this one. And I just want to make sure that's really well seated, so that we don't have any wire breaks. Then we have pin 5. There we go. That's actually doing pretty good. It's go back to self timer. Set that for 2 seconds. Ready. And we got that soldered in. Pull that down tight. There, that does kind of get in the way of our reset button, but we can move that out of the way. Have our switch and our button. There we go. All right. So now we want to do the rest of our ground. Don't have that many more ground connections. We do have the ones for the neopixels and the ones for the alright, so that's ground. So we have the ones for the neopixels and the ones for the soundboard. And it's really important to run the soundboard when we get over to the power. Normally I would go through the battery power for the soundboard, but we don't actually want to do that for this one, because we do want to be able to disable things like the soundboard while we're charging the battery, so we aren't playing the sounds while that battery is charging. All right, so another picture. Oh, that is a horrible soldering job. All right, let's see if we can do better. There we go. Alright, so we got that one. Let me tin this wire. This one is going to be a little challenging to get through. There we go. Gotta use that helping hand. Okay, so I'm gonna clean that up a little bit, check my solder joints, and there we go. So I got my 2 ground wires there. Now I'm gonna go for my 2 positive voltage wires on the other side. If you don't have one of these strippers, the wire strippers, and you do a lot of this kind of electronic stuff, they are so worth it. It makes it so much easier to do all this kind of stuff. Alright, so that's a long enough wire. Oh. Oops, it's coming at it from the wrong side. I do want to try and make the bottom of this as flat as possible. Looks like we plugged up hole number 3, or pin number 3, but I don't think we actually use that one. Oh, you know, I think we do. Oh yeah, that's right, because that's the cereal. That's okay. We'll just whip out the good old solder pump. There we go. That takes care of that. Wire number 2, and this pretty much takes up like all of those extra power and ground ports. Hey, it looks like Eric's come to show something here. What's up?
No, I was just peeking over your shoulder to see
oh yeah,
what you had going on. You're on the show and tell?
Not the show and tell, but I'm just taking pictures of the putting together the Iron Man. Oh, sorry, not Iron Man. The off-brand
Superhero Power Gauntlet.
Superhero Power Gauntlet,
Nice.
Because that's not trademarked.
Right.
And just streaming live to YouTube.
Cool.
As I'm doing it. So you working on some of our signage for Maker Faire?
Yeah, I actually had another application that I was working with, and that I had for these particular little stands. They're acrylic stands, so for now I just engraved something called SmileGram.
There you go. You can show that off.
Yeah. Okay.
That
So
camera over there.
let's see if I can get a good angle here. You can see. Yeah. Okay. There we go. Almost. So what this says is SmileGram, and basically what this is a holder for about 30 sheets of paper, because my niece was recently in the hospital, and Children's Hospital in Atlanta has this program that will allow you to send anyone kind of like a telegram. And so she received like 30 of these things, and so what I'm doing is I'm making a holder such that they could hold all 30 of the sheets. But what I'm going to do ultimately is not only will it be a holder, but I'm going to take all the things that were said to her, and I will etch those into this as well. So,
Cool.
yeah, that's what I'm doing.
Looks cool. All right.
And I'm about to take off, so I want to tell you, have
Oh.
a good weekend, enjoy your time.
Okie doke. Yeah.
I'll see you.
Yeah, definitely. All right. So I got those wires connected. Let me go ahead and take a quick photo of that. Okay, so now I want to separate these off. I wonder what would be the best way to do this. Maybe doing my two power wires through here. So see, looks like my camera is on the fritz right now. Let's see if I can get that back. So the camera I'm using, it's this Sony CyberShot. What is it? DSC QX10. I thought it would be a good camera for doing stuff like this, because it actually connects over Wi-Fi to my phone, and then I use my phone as the viewfinder. Sometimes I'm noticing that it does give me a bit of trouble though. Alright, so connection fail. Let's get that back. And it's actually, this is actually a perfect setup because the webcam is positioned right next to the camera that I'm photographing with. So what you guys are seeing in the camera feed here is pretty much what the camera that I'm taking pictures with can see. Of course, the camera I'm taking pictures with takes much better photos than my webcam does. There we go, now we're back. Of course, it didn't save my focus settings. good. All right. Let me see. Let me see if there's any way on here. I would like for this to I'd like to be able to set this so that it just takes like a 2-second delay before taking a shot every time. Because that's kind of a pain. Now it won't let me go to setting. Oh. Giving me a different set of settings. There we go. Okay. So set up for the next shot. So I have my power and ground going out. I want to twist these wires that are going to my NeoPixel, and also to twist these wires, which are going to my soundboard. Could not shoot. Okay. All right, what's next? So next, we want to connect our NeoPixels. So I do want a signal wire coming off of our NeoPixel. I'm going to make that an orange wire. Here, and I want that to be about the same length as our power wire. So that NeoPixel is going to come from, I think that's pin 6. Let me verify in the code. Yep, LED pin is 6. So that's my NeoPixels. Man, I do really want to use a couple of different colors here. Let me see if I've got some extra wires. So yeah, there's some yellow and some green. I think that'll do. It's not the best condition, but actually I think it will do for this. I got plenty of red. There we go. That ought to do. Okay. So next thing I want to do is start putting together the NeoPixels. So I'm going to put that aside for now. Now I'm going to take this guy . See some of my orange. And I want to do data in from here. Alright, data in, and then I want to do power and ground. From there, luckily, I always keep a hefty stock of black and red wire. It's what I use the most. Alright, and then we're gonna go power in here. Interesting how there's only one power, but there's a few ground connectors. I'll make sure that's seated in there nicely. And then I'll do ground over here on this other side. Take another picture, better to have more pictures than not enough. There we go. All right, so I'm going to clean that up. And then let's see how these are going to match up on the NeoPixel ring. So we've got volt DC, we have data out here, and ground. So ground and power can go through the same hole because they're going to be on the same side. Put these two through here. See if I can squeeze that one through. Maybe cut it at an angle. There we go. This one for our data goes in through here. There we go. All right. So now I want to measure this, so we're going to do power and ground. So I'm going to cut those off probably there, and then do about the same thing over there. Actually, I'm going to take another picture because I do like having this stuff fit nice and snug without a lot of of extra real estate. It's much harder trying to coil up these wires in a tight space. Alright, so now I'm going to put this one right in there. That one right in there. Alright, so now I got power and ground. And then I want data out. In there. Alright, so I didn't cut it nearly short enough, but that's okay. Make sure that one's nice in there. And then what I do, since I have all that slop, is just twist it into place. Get that bent down. That into place right like that. In the center. There we go. Get a shot. Good. Let's get a shot of the back. Looks good. All right. So now we got our NeoPixel array. to add it to this guy. Actually, not quite yet, so I'm going to put that to the side. And what I want to do is I actually want to get my data and clock lines in there. So for that, I think I'm going to use some, I'm going to use some of this purple and orange for the data and clock lines. I don't need these to be very long because they're just going to that little module that's going to be on the board here. So those guys, let's look at our code. Yes, it's going to go into these two right here. And what we have, it looks like 2 is going to be our orange. Actually, maybe I should use some of the yellow. Yeah, because I do want to try and differentiate. So this is going to be my NeoPixel data color. Probably going to reuse yellow for one of the audio channels as well. Solder this guy. This guy. There we go. Trim those. So I'm going to string this guy underneath here. Okay, so I think we're about ready to start or to solder on our this board here, but I do want to trim this a bit. Because it is pretty much going to go underneath everything. Okay, so we have SCL. Alright, what's going on here? Okay, so ground is over here. Power is over here, so so I'm gonna get SCL. SDL. Camera, come on. Sometimes I don't understand this thing, my Wi-Fi. I mean, these things are right up next to each other. There's no other connection going on. All right, come on. My phone in airplane mode, so let's restart this thing again. Come on. There we go. All right. So let me make sure it's saved my last shot, which it did not save my last couple of shots. Well, that's disheartening. Looks like it's in a place that I could easily salvage. Shows it a little better. Perfect. All right, so now we have 3 volt over here, ground over here. I'm going to tuck these wires up and bring this down so it seats right there. Nice and perfect. And this is just going to make it much easier to orient the board, because now the axes are in relation to the larger board there. Oh, let me get the token soldering shot. There we go. All right. So that is it. Our piece is soldered. Now we can go ahead and get the neopixels on there. All right. So I'm going to go up through here. do data in. Seconds. All right, and then so we have another power over here. So power coming in from the main board. Alright, so there's my power, there's my ground. All right. There we go. So now I'm gonna pull those wires down into the crevices like that. And there we go. So NeoPixels are in. This might be a good opportunity for me to load in the program and see if it's actually working. All right, so in order to do that, I am going to go ahead and open up the Arduino IDE. And I'm also going to open up the Iron Man 1.3 code. So let's plug the feather in. Feather, yep. Everything looks good, so go ahead and upload. And then I will probably probably need a battery. Actually, let me make sure I get a battery that I know is working. Alright, so upload done. Okay, so something's going wrong. I only have one LED that's turning on here. Oh, I wonder if it's... Does this even matter? Alright, so let me try just loading on a simple LED test here. So we're switching to pin number 6. It looks like that one LED is doing it. Yeah, but it's only one. Seems like it's coming into that one and then just not outputting. There we go. Okay. Okay, so let's try the Iron Man thing again. You know, I think it might have just been a really small solder bridge on one of those connections. Okay, there we go. I only hit 3 pixels in the beginning. I'm going to take this opportunity to, so I have 4 more. So I have 23 LEDs, and then I do need to change a function in here that controls the center cluster. So 23. Let's upload. Let's see. Uploading. There we go. All right, so center cluster, let's see. Oh, yes, of course. So I don't have the soundboard attached, so it locks itself in. But that does mean it did detect the change. So you might notice that it's slightly flickering now, but then as soon as I tilt this at the right angle, there you go, it stopped, which meant that the accelerometer, it is detecting the accelerometer as expected. It just doesn't have the soundboard attached, and so it doesn't have the right pin that it's listening to. So we're all good so far. Everything's working out so far. Now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to start putting in the let's save this one. We're going to start putting in the sound stuff. So that's all set. I need a series of wires for the sound part of this. So I'm going to need 5 different colors. Let's see, I guess I could just use the same thing that I did with the other one. Hang on just a second. Yeah. I'm just going to use these guys. So, nice little ribbon cable. I hate to disconnect these. So let's see, so I need 5 wires. Take those off. Going to just clip off those ends there. Twist each one of these. All right, that looks pretty good. I'm also just going to tin these. So hopefully that will make them perform a little better. I have had these wires break on me before, and even when I was installing Tony's into the final 3D print, I had a few of them break and had to resolder them. So just make sure that like what I'll probably suggest for this tutorial is to hot glue that stuff into place. Okay, so let me have a look at our code here and where exactly these get plugged in. I'm pretty sure, so I just go sound effect 1 is 13, then 12, then 10, and then 9 is play. So 13, 12, 11, 10, and 9. Okay, so I'm going to have my gray wire be my signal that I'm looking for. Alright, that one, there we go, so all right in a row. Easy peasy. Make sure that one's seated. Ooh, wow. I hate it when that happens. Little piece of rogue solder. Alright, there we go. So there's all of our audio interface stuff. Quick picture of that. Try and frame that a little nicer. Alrighty. just tinning these wires here. That one didn't get. Am I done? All right. So now these are all going to go into this guy right here. And the way we're doing it is pin 13 is going to go into 0. Get a little blob on this one. It's probably not going to make it through the hole. Alright, so we're going to go Alright, so we have 0, then 1, then 2, then 3. Alright, so let me get all these. In there. There we go. Alright, so this one goes in here, this one goes into act, and that is the important one because that is what is going to tell us if a sound is actually playing or not. So we're listening for that one. And that is it. So that is how our soundboard gets connected. Then we have our power in. So we're going to go voltage in. Let's see. We also need to we need to also have power go out to the amp. So what I'm gonna do ground and voltage in. Come right here. Yeah, see, that's what happens, is it doesn't, the wire gets pushed out a little bit. So, you can pretty easily just remelt that and seat it really nicely. Same thing with ground. And then just trim those connectors. And there we go. So there is our soundboard. Oh, come on, man. All right, camera. Here we go. All right. Sorry, it's been a while. I'm gonna have a little snack here. While I'm waiting for that camera to connect. There we go. All right. So, that is it for our soundboard and everything. Of course, the next thing we want to do is add our amplifier. Our amplifier has power and ground. Oh yeah, okay. So our amplifier has power, ground, and signal and signal ground. Okay. So we have power, ground, these two, and then we're going to use white and gray to indicate the signal, power, and ground, which goes out to the speaker. Or actually, this comes out from the soundboard and into the speaker. Alright, so I'm going to put this to the side for now. Well, actually, this might be a good time to test our stuff, because now this should actually have enough to where the LEDs will perform the function. All right, so if I tilt up. Oh, no, I have no sound on this board. So this would be a good opportunity to upload my sounds. Turn that off, and we're gonna here. Where's Tony's sound effects? Let me find my sound effects. So, right. Actually, I am going to use Tony's sound effects because they're already named appropriately.
I have indeed been uploaded, sir. We're online and ready.
Alright. Importing preferences.
Importing preferences and calibrating virtual environment.
Alright. So, that's already set up. That's an OGG. Import is going to be T00 T00.ogg. Copy it in there, and then let's see. Plug that in. There we go. There's my Adafruit sound effects board popping up. This stuff I'll cover in the actual tutorial, like how to do this, and I'll have the sound files ready to go. But I mean, this is all stuff that is covered in many different guides as well. So I'm probably not going to write any of that, just take from the already existing guides. I'm going to eject my soundboard. Alright, so now this should have all the sounds on it. So if I go here, I'm going to see, yep, there's the startup sound is playing. Sorry, you can't see the red light. And when I tilt this up, should see red light goes on, charging, and blast. Charging and blast. Let's see, charging and discharging. Yeah. everything's working. That's always a big relief. I always get worried when I'm working on big projects like this that things are not going to work out. That's why it's a good idea to test as you go along, because if you can catch those mistakes early on, it's much easier to troubleshoot, rather than if we do the whole thing and then have to backstep. Okay. So, luckily this is really well labeled on the back. So this is the voltage in. Grounds sometimes take forever to heat up. Enough. Let's see how that looks. Pretty good. And then we're gonna go with our positive will be white. Negative will be gray. That is what we want. And so I'm just waiting for my camera to get back to me. There we go. Oh, yeah, that's a little shiny. Wow, man, I think it crashed again. Cool. All right. So that's that. I do want to put a little bit of heat shrink on this one, in case you're wondering where I get my heat shrink. It's right there. I love these guys. This is where I get my hookup wire as well. They're super rad. Yeah, their wires, I like their wires a lot. They're not too pricey, and I don't know, they're just really good. I like how they how the wires have just enough flex to them. Let's see, so I do want to leave those two fairly long. Heat shrink this nice and neat. And I'm going to take a picture of me waiting on the camera. I mean, I like having the remote trigger, but sometimes it's kind of ridiculous that this thing takes so long. I should probably check to see if it has a firmware update that makes it perform a little better. There we go, that looks good. Okay. So, back to the norm. So now we're on to attaching our amp. And this is where it gets a little tricky. Because I need to tap into the voltage in. The amp is going to draw. I have quite a bit of power draw. And so what I'm going to do is solder it in to the battery leads. I think that's going to work out really nicely. need to take a picture of this one. Oh, no, I don't really need 10 seconds. I need 2 seconds. It seems like that's about the perfect amount of time. Pretty good. Alright, let's take another picture. Getting close. I don't know why I took another picture. Okay. Okay. So now I'm going to do, well, so the audio that I have for this is mono, so it doesn't matter if you put it in left or right channel. I'm going to go ground in here and left in here. That one. That one. Actually, yeah, that looks pretty darn good. Trim up my ends. All right, let's take a picture if we can. Come on. Man. Amazon is trying to connect. Where are you trying to connect? Oh, so that must be it, is that there's other apps that are trying to connect through Wi-Fi. So maybe it would just help to have a dedicated phone that has no accounts and just this camera software. All right. Soundboard and amp. They do have a soundboard that has a built-in amplifier, but that is usually out of stock, and it has I think like 11 audio inputs and audio outputs, which is way more than we need. Plus, we don't need stereo amplification. We just need mono. So, like I said, this configuration is typically what I use in a lot of the LARPing props, just because it's inexpensive. Usually this stuff is in stock, and it does just what we need and not much more. Okay, now I only have one more thing, which is our speaker. So one thing I want to do, because I do have a hinge that is potentially going to be in the way here, is I want to have a longer wire that comes off of that. So I'm going to actually remove these smaller wires. I'm going to take a photo of this. I am going to use a much longer length of wire. All right, we're getting to the home stretch. This is the final step, putting in the speaker. Oh shoot, did that take an out of focus picture? think that did. Oh, that's no good. Just gonna move my soldering stand over here. Yeah. Of course, that doesn't do too well for other reasons. And now, luckily I have the same white wire. I'm just gonna add that really long length right back in. So this will let me place this in the right position. So the way I had it in Tony's prop is the light went into the palm of his hand. The accelerometer also goes there, so you know how to orient everything. And then the soundboard actually goes on the back of your hand. But then, of course, the speaker needs to be in front so that the sound comes from that blaster arc thing. I'm going to put just a wee bit more solder on that pad. There we go. Up. And I have to take the picture of me putting on the significantly longer wire. Oh. Okay. Okay, here we go. Just like so many of the other things, I'm going to give this wire a nice little twist. I don't think it needs to be quite this long. But it needs to be able to go back from there to there. So yeah, that's a pretty good length. just gonna strip these. And attach them through here. It doesn't actually matter, I don't think, which ones these go into. Because there's no labels on the actual speaker itself. Taking more pictures. And actually, we're done. Like, that's all we need. I just want to make sure that one last picture went through. Come on. No, come on. It is like the last picture. All right, let's try this again. If this camera doesn't end up working, then this video may be the only source of photographs. That's going to be really sad, but I don't know why this would not be working. Okay. So I'm just going to take the photo from there. Cool. All right. Let's fire it up. we go. First power up. Alright, so that went through. Alright, buttons working. So we're armed. Let's lift it up. Alright, everything looks like it's working. The one thing I'm noticing though is that the sound is really faint. Could just be the pot adjustment here. So let me take a quick picture of me doing the pot adjustment. Actually, that's not too bad sound. Yeah, that's not too bad. Let me test it out with a piece of plastic to see how it's going to react, because this does have to be behind. So this is going to be in. Actually, that makes it sound a little better.
Importing preferences and calibrating virtual environment.
There we go. Oh, I disabled the thing. Alright, so now if I lift it up,
Importing preferences and calibrating virtual environment.
it resets. That is a great build up animation. Alright, that is it. So that is the entire package that goes inside of the the superhero power gauntlet. That's all the stuff. Let me see if I can actually fit it all into one photo. All right. Yes. So that. And that. And that. That fits everything in. And picture. See if that did. That looks like everything. All right. So we're all set. How long did that take? That took like, what, 2 hours and 15 minutes almost. That's not too bad for a build with documenting. I could probably put this together way faster, especially once I have the tutorial in there, and depending on how fast you're going to be able to solder. But there's a lot of soldering and a lot of wire cutting. I suggest taking your time, because then it makes it a lot easier in the end, and makes it hold up a lot better. Possibly even putting hot glue in the different joints there is what I do to kind of stabilize those a little bit. And then I use the Velcro tape on the back side of this stuff to get it all to stick in there properly. I'll probably add that in the tutorial once we get into installing this in the 3D prop. But that is it for now, and thanks for watching. We'll see you guys later.